we know that Trump's change in policy towards Turkey and the Kurds has not been popular, even amongst some on the right. He's been criticized by them. Trump has been criticized even on Fox News for this policy change. And so here we have a little bit of that as Brian Kilmeade.
It's bipartisan outrage. The president must realize he made a huge mistake and just say, listen, I had a conversation with Erdogan. He misled me like he's misled every one of the regions. It's cost lives. I think the most disturbing thing is they say hundreds of ISIS fighters have gotten out in our quest to get the worst of the worst out before the Turks got there has failed because they were already gone. And our guys had to move back because the Turks intentionally or unintentionally targeted our guys.
Yeah, it was intentionally, according to our military. But that is as strong as criticism on Fox and Friends comes for Donald Trump. Said he's made a huge mistake and he needs to reverse. That is what he later tweeted, attacking Brian Kilmeade for. He is apparently not reversing, though. He's fairly satisfied with how this is going. He doesn't care about the body count. And so he is going to continue to be criticized, including by other people at Fox. There was a foreign correspondent, Trey Yingst, who reported that, quote, there's evidence today of war crimes being committed, civilians being targeted, and ISIS prisoners escaping. Trey said, to give you a better idea about what is unfolding on the ground, Turkish forces have taken over a number of key roads in the area. He talks about the shooting that we just mentioned. It says the worst of humanity is unfolding today in Syria as President Trump tweets. Congress considers sanctions that wouldn't actually be implemented until a later date and the world watches. And so today he actually tweeted that he's going to either by executive order or possibly with the Senate have new sanctions against Turkey. And maybe at some point that'll pass. And maybe at some point it'll have an economic effect. That's not gonna bring back a single Kurd who's been killed in this conflict though. And in my view, if you really wanna stop a genocide from happening, you don't just tax it. That generally doesn't protect people from genocide.
No.
And that's what he's doing. And so he's being criticized by some. There's even weak, I would say spineless criticism from Republican politicians. So did you see Marco Rubio's tweets? We've got one. He says this. Now, notice what's in this tweet and what's not in this tweet. So Marco Rubio tweeted, ISIS killers will now escape and boost chances of a resurgence. One of few moderate pro-US groups in region now allied with Assad and Putin. Syria's future now controlled by Russia and Iran. A significant blow to Israel's security and boost to Iran's goal of regional dominance. I would say that that is what many call the passive voice, because it implies that this situation has just developed. Look at all these bad things. I don't know who caused it. I'm only a senator. What am I supposed to do about it? And he doesn't actually mention it. And so the hashtag say his name has been trending to get Republican politicians to actually acknowledge who it is that has caused this.
Well, so what's the point then? Again, it's to be on record and say, hey, I said something about it. I actually don't care. This is, so I know this is an ongoing theme, but Trump does these horrible things. He's been doing them for a few years now. And then Republican politicians want to act like it's just him once they get asked about it. No, you're the same type of person. You're the reason why he's in office. You're the one who started fomenting this kind of resentment for the country. Keep it real. And then when someone comes in and carries those things out without the veil that you're used to carrying it out with, like the way Marco Rubio's trying to do right there, by putting veils over his tweets, we can see it. He's just way too crass at it. When people ask him directly, I know it's a shift from when he was saying, hey, I want China to help out and investigate more of the Bidens. And everybody said he's just joking. And they asked him again. And he said, I'm not joking. So he can't even go with your talking point to absolve him of the responsibilities for the things that he says. So all you're mad about is that he's not as good at this as you are as far as masking it. That's the only thing you have in opposition to Trump.
Oh, absolutely. Otherwise, they enjoy what he does and the benefits that he gives them. But at the same time, the fact that he doesn't use tact or any kind of stealth ways to pretend that, he's not racist, capitalistic, bigot, all these other things, and sexist, and the list runs, then that's the real problem. Because, hey, how can you keep up this whole ideology that the status quo and everything is equal and fair and that we are doing the best as we can, all the Americans, if you're really out there telling the truth?
Yeah, and he tweeted a little bit more. He had a tweet that was like, oh, I see, the sides may be working with Syrian government or Russia or Iran. I'm sure it'll all work out for them. We're 7,000 miles away. Which, I mean, if you were an ally of the US militarily, you should just check out now. The idea that, we're far, what do we care if you get killed? Just horrible. And in that tweet, by the way, he says the same obvious falsehood that has been used since this policy change was made was that hey, you know, this looks dark, but this is about ending the wars. He just wants to get troops out of the Middle East. Well, this weekend he announced that he's sending 2,800 troops to Saudi Arabia. So how did that work out? The idea that this is about ending wars. Donald Trump doesn't care about ending wars, okay? He just doesn't care about the Kurds. He's very happy to go in defense of Saudi Arabia. He has interest in terms of our military-industrial complex and also his own personal real estate interest when it comes to the Saudi royal family.
How many miles are we away from Saudi Arabia?
About 7,000, I would imagine. It's about one from here to Syria away.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.